Good evening, and good evening from London, and good evening from me, Dr. Dermot Hudson, Chairman of the Korean Friendship Association of the UK, and Chairman of the British Group for the Study of the Juche idea. Thank you, all of you, for joining me this evening. It's a bright, sunny evening here in London. Temperature is 31 degrees centigrade. That's quite impressive for Britain. Anyway, let's get on with the show. And tonight I'm going to speak about a couple of subjects, and then I will throw things open to questions. You can put the questions in the chat. So I'm going to talk about sort of some very topical issues about people's career and what's happening in and around the Korean Peninsula, as well as some other subjects towards the end. And I think number one subject is the issue of the continual launch of balloons by the South Korean puppets and human scum defectors in the South. This is a very serious issue, and I think it's one that all friends of people's career should be fully aware of, because a war could break out on the Korean Peninsula because of this. The intrusion of the balloons into the DPRK is both a concerted attempt at regime change with the aim of overthrowing the socialist system of people's career, as well as a very grave provocation. On Sunday, the 14th of July, Comrade Kim Yo-jong, Vice Department Director of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party Korea, issued a press statement in which she said, and I'm going to read it out now, "Today I was informed that dirty leaflets and things of the ROK scum," that's Republic of Korea, ROK scum, "have been found again in the border area and some deep areas of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Similar information was continuously reported by party organizations, military and social organizations at all levels on Sunday morning. According to the information, the rubbish was found in 17 places in Jangfun County of North Hwanghae Province and the area adjacent to it. Units of the Korean People's Army, the Worker Peasant Red Guards, public security and state security organs at all levels near the border are now making an all-out search, throwing onto the fire and disposing of the rubbish found according to the regulation of dealing with enemy dropped objects and providing against the possibility to find such things in addition. Despite the repeated warnings of the DPRK, the ROK scum are not stopping this crude and dirty play. As already warned, the scum who are resorting to do this play will be more strongly criticized by their own people. We have fully introduced our countermeasure in such a situation. The ROK clans must be tired from suffering a bitter embarrassment and must be ready for paying a very high price for their dirty play. And that's the end of the quotation. However, unfortunately, the ROK puppet scum continued with the balloon launching. So Comrade Kim Yo-jong issued another press statement on the 16th of July, in which she stated as follows, and I quote again, 29 large balloons sent by the scum in the ROK were discovered again on the southern border and in some deep areas of the DPRK at dawn and in the morning of July 16th. 10 large balloons were found in Cheolwon County, 8 in Sinpyeong County, 5 in Aichon County, 4 in Fangyo County, 1 in Koksan County, and 1 in Pyeonggang County, and specialized organs are now searching and disposing of them and incinerating them. Reports on finding leaflets have been received in various other areas. The specialized organs are busy with their work, and people's inconvenience is increasing in many areas due to the blocking of relevant districts. It seems the situation we cannot overlook is coming. We give the scum a stern warning again. They should be ready for paying a gruesome and dear price. If the ROK scum persist in their dirty and crude play, the mode of counteraction of the DPRK will inevitably be changed. End of quotation. It should be added that these balloons sent by the puppets damage the environment and farmland. And also, back in 2022, the South Korean puppets and human scum defectors used the balloons to spread COVID-19 into the DPRK, causing a number of deaths and causing the DPRK to switch over to an emergency situation and go on to lockdown because of this. So this issue of the balloons is something that cannot be ignored. What I think is great that the DPRK is actually incinerating the materials found on the balloons, and it was also good to see the fake aid that the South Korean puppets were sending with the aim of trying to bribe parts of the population of the DPRK to destabilize it was actually burnt as well. Bravo, People's Korea. Only People's Korea can take such a tough stand against this kind of dirty trickery by the hostile anti-socialist forces. We fully support the right of People's Korea to take whatever actions necessary against the vile ROK puppets. Everyone must stand foursquare behind People's Korea in its battle against the psychological warfare of the South Korean puppets. Moving on, and this is the subject of criticism in People's Korea. And a lot of people wrongly think that you can't criticize shortcomings or mistakes in the DPRK. Recently, between July 11th and July 12th, respected Marshal Kim Jong-un gave field guidance over the construction project of the city of Samyeong in the far north of the DPRK, which I actually visited about 7 years ago. And of course, it's changed a lot since then, but that's another subject. During the course of his guidance, he severely criticized mistakes and shortcomings, and the Korean Central News Agency reported as follows. He, that's Marshal Kim Jong-un, strongly pointed out the irresponsibility of leading officials had revealed in the course of construction and a series of serious deviations caused by it, and he gave instructions on taking necessary measures. Looking around the newly built hotels for domestic tourists, he severely pointed out that their construction was carried out carelessly at an outdated and backward level, contrary to the requirements of the developing times, noting that the new buildings had to be remodeled and consequently the problem badly affecting the general long-term plan for the city development, bringing economic losses. He sharply criticised irresponsible construction inspection organs for their serious neglect of duty by making the innumerable and serious shortcomings pass through the completion inspection and handing them over to operation units. The need to enhance the role of construction inspection organs has been stressed on every occasion, but the officials in this sector do not pay attention to the demands, instructions, and warnings of the party's Central Committee and the government. He added that the leading official, the Ministry of State Construction Control, has never engaged in the inspection of completed public facilities in the city, to which importance has been attached. This fact alone clearly shows that his ideological laxity and neglect of duty reached extremes. Noting that Sung-chol, Minister of State Construction Control, has never been to the city since December last year, when the inspection of completed facilities started, leaving it to officials of the field headquarters. And a vice minister of the same ministry idled his time away on the spot with an irresponsible work attitude. He sternly pointed out that they are good-for-nothing persons, devoid of the standpoint of serving the state and people and the elementary morality and qualification as civil servants. And he gave instructions to suspend their rights and hand them over immediately to a law enforcement organ for investigation. End of quotation. People in the West do not understand that in the DPRK there is criticism and self-criticism. It's not the first time that respected Marshal Kim Jong-un criticised inefficiency or shortcomings or poor work attitudes. Back in 2012, he criticised officials at the Mangyong Day Fun Fair for letting grass grow in the cracks of pavements. He has always attacked bureaucracy and inefficiency. Marshal Kim Jong-un does not believe in inefficiency and incompetence or backsliding under socialism. He believes that the interests of the people should come first and that officials must always work for the people. Inefficient and incompetent socialism is actually a very dangerous phenomenon. In the past, revisionist-led socialist countries such as the Soviet Union and the Eastern European socialist countries became associated with bureaucracy and stagnation, though people of these countries enjoyed advantages such as full employment. There were shortcomings in people's lives. This was exaggerated and used by the enemies of socialism. In the UK, there never was socialism at any point. However, social democratic policies of post-war Labour governments were often described as quote-unquote socialism by the Tories and even by some on the left. The reforms of the Labour government quickly became associated with inefficiency and incompetence, such as queues for hospital treatment, poor quality education with working class children just being given colouring pencils and not educated, bureaucrats at dole offices, and long waits for council housing. Thus, socialism had a bad name with the British people. And lastly, I'm going to speak about two topical subjects. Last night in the UK, there was rioting in the Hare Hills district of Leeds. And I don't know what will happen tonight. I don't know if there'll be more riots there or whether there be riots in other parts of the UK. But this would never happen in People's Korea, and there's all kinds of propaganda and stories made up about People's Korea, but you never see reports of riots there. Why? Because the people in the DPRK are fully united around the leader and the party and form a harmonious, integral whole. The situation in the so-called advanced capitalist countries is in contrast to People's Korea. The DPRK is one of the most stable countries on earth. In fact, probably the most stable country in the world. Young people do not riot or do not smash up their communities, but instead act as a shock brigade in socialist construction and take part in it with vigour and also in the defence of their country. The DPRK is based on the socialist ownership of the means production, so there is no social inequality. There are no social contradictions and no racial discrimination in the DPRK. In the DPRK, there are no spending cuts and taxation was abolished in 1974. In the DPRK, there's no lumpens or drug addicts or drug dealers or alcoholics or these kind of people. The DPRK is based on the Juche idea, the philosophical principle which is that man is the masters. Thus, because of the socialist ownership of the means of production, which is both underpinned and enhanced by the Juche idea, the people in the DPRK have a high sense of taking ownership of stakeholding, which does not exist in any capitalist country. Moreover, politics in the DPRK is based on benevolence and trust. The supreme principle of the party and state is to improve living standards. And lastly, a news item sent by our media monitoring units on the far south coast. And apparently, the National Lottery Fund in the UK has just given £300,000 to so-called North Korean defectors who are pretending that they are quote unquote refugees. They are not refugees. There's nothing for them to run away from in the DPRK. Why run away from free housing and free healthcare? You know, why run away from that, and why go to capitalist shithole like the UK? I say they are not refugees, but traitors to the Juche socialist motherland who actually ran away after committing serious crimes. This is a disgusting waste of money, a misuse of lottery funds, and it's disgusting when British citizens are homeless or without work. That money could be used to help honest people in this country, not vile scum who've betrayed the DPRK. Anyway, that's the end of my presentation. So, you know, I'll take some questions now and say good evening to everybody who's just joined. You can see a few people have just joined. Just joined. I'll start taking questions. Yes, thank you, comrade. Yes, for wishing me a happy birthday in advance. It's still a few hours until my birthday. Yes, hello, Felix from East Berlin. Okay, well, if people want to sort of put a few questions in the chat, I'm here to answer them. Well, if wait while people put some questions down, I'll say a few things in a minute. Yes, just to announce that the 25th of July, we've got an online meeting on the 71st anniversary of the victory in the Fatherland Liberation War, which you can register for, and we will send you the link to it. Okay, question has come up. Yesterday, I find not air choreo in Berlin, not more. Well, I think air choreo, the air choreo office in Berlin hasn't existed for a few years. Last time I had any contact with them was back in 2013, and since then I've always used the air courier office in Beijing to for booking tickets or reservations. Right. Any news on the development of nuclear energy in the DPRK? Off the top of my head, I can't really say. It is being pushed ahead. There are plans for more nuclear reactors in the DPRK and to develop nuclear energy. DPRK has very big energy needs. And in fact, when you go there, you've only got to see the size of the new streets that are being built. They're the size of small towns uh, and cities. So the need for energy is great, but I haven't actually seen much news on the developments of nuclear energy or any news about the completion of nuclear reactors. There are some under construction. Right. Well, I mean, with regards to rural housing, I think from what I can tell, they're rebuilding quite a lot of the villages in the DPRK countryside. So I have not seen figures, but I think it is quite big. I'd have to refer to the documents of the different plenums of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. I mean, someone was banding a figure around of for 40,000 new homes in DPRK rural areas per year, but I couldn't find where that figure had come from. That was not actually in any DPRK source, so I don't know where. I think that figure looks like an estimate. Again, I've got no confirmation about DPRK troops being sent to the Donbass. It's not confirmed. and in the past, the DPRK actually denied military cooperation with the Russian Federation. But, possibly, there are agreements that have been signed between the Donbass republics and the DPRK. Yes, that's true, which provide for exchange in the field of construction. So maybe that may well happen in the future, but I'm seeing figures for how many troops will be sent, but I think it will be construction technicians rather than troops anyway. Yes, that's true. Yes, they would be sent to build homes. Well, while I wait for more questions, to just remind people of some of my books, such as The Red Sons of Juche-based Socialism, and a report of the visit of our delegation back in 2019, 5 years ago. All seems like a very, very long time ago. And of course, this book was written about our visit in 2012 to the DPRK. And we got this excellent book, The Great Conspiracy Against People's Korean, which is about the dirty and underhand manoeuvres to overthrow socialism in the DPRK. Yeah, I agree with you, Ben. I've not seen any figure release from the DPRK about that. Uh, and what you say, I would say, easily 100,000 homes per year, because it is literally, you see every second or third day that people have moved into new homes. I think, as far as I can see, what they're doing is they're actually replacing the entire rural housing stock of the DPRK. So it's quite an amazing rejuvenation and facelifting that is taking place in the rural areas of the DPRK. And some of those homes look absolutely fantastic. They look like they could be in Britain, in middle class areas of Britain. They're absolutely amazing. Right, okay, now we're starting to get yes, hello, comrade, uh, Howell Howell Mel. Okay, so we got two questions. Yeah, I can't comment on these reports about supposed betrayal by a DPRK diplomat in Cuba. I've not seen this confirmed. There's been no statement from the DPRK at all. So, I think it's best not to comment on. And yeah, I mean, yes, I think they probably will open up for Russian tourism. There was a big Russian tourist delegation in the DPRK in February. So I think this is a strong possibility of opening up towards for Russian tourists. And you would have seen the pictures on KCNA of respected Marshal Kim Jong Un's guidance to the construction at the Wonsan-Kama tourist area, which it looks incredibly impressive. Looks like a wonderful beach. I'd love to go there. Uh, love to go there. So yes, I think this could well happen. Will you write a book about your recent visit during the Day of the Sun celebrations? Well, thanks, Ben. That's a great idea. I think I will do that and try and get it completed quickly. I'm already writing 2 books at the moment, but I think I can put my report on my visit into a book. That's a very good idea. Nobody should go to South Korea. It's a hellhole, not to mention the poverty and propaganda. Yeah, I mean that's very true. I think uh, it's a sad fact that the imperialists and South Korean puppets do try to bribe DPRK diplomats into defecting and use all sorts of schemes and tricks to get them to defect. And of course, DPRK diplomats face difficulties because they are isolated from the DPRK. So the pressure on them to defect is very, very strong. Well, to answer the question about the progress of the Wonsan Karma tourist area, as far as I could tell from the pictures, a lot of it looked like it was completed, and I think there's just some work on the finishing touches to it need to be done. Again, I don't know when DPRK will open up for Western tourists. It's not really. It's not really clear. I think probably the last part of this year, perhaps next year, maybe. I would also point out that apparently one of the trendy capitalist tour companies, Choreo Tours, funnily enough, they're not offering a tour of the DPRK, but they're actually offering a tour of actually in South Korea and actually y- going to see the demilitarized zone, the DMZ, from the South Korean side. I find that quite ironic. And I think this sort of makes a mockery of things. Yes, that's right. The US does ban its own citizens from travelling to the DPRK. There's so much hokum talked about freedom and democracy by the US, but they're the ones who actually ban US citizens from going to the DPRK. There is no hereditary succession in the DPRK. This is a myth being spread by hostile forces, by the Western media. The leader in the DPRK is selected by the party and people who decide uh, who the best person is to succeed. That's how it works. DPRK is not a monarchy. It's not like Britain at all. You know, there's no fancy ceremonies. Instead, there are hard discussions within the party about who is going to lead the country, and respected Marshal Kim Jong-un has been now elected not once but several times by the party, and really people who complain about such things are really questioning the judgment of the Workers' Party Korea and the judgment of the Korean people, and really, we're sliding into sort of armchair leftism that you get in the capitalist countries, unfortunately, where they decide how they're going to run different countries and sit in their armchairs saying, "Oh, they shouldn't have done this, they shouldn't have done that. Oh, they've got to do such and such. Oh, Bolivia's got to nationalise the tin mines and this, that, and the other." And this approach has been applied to the DPRK by some people, and it's also feeding off bourgeois and imperialist propaganda and demonisation. Yeah, well, it could be uh, ivory towers, but I just think I think the British left a lot sit in armchairs or in pubs. Okay, next question. Yeah, I mean, as no one's asking a question, I'm sure a couple will come up, and I hope I haven't missed any questions, because this is a problem where stuff gets pushed down in the chat and stuff gets missed. So if you've asked a question and I haven't seen it, you please ask again. I mean, we would say with the US and Britain, in fact, as well. Yeah, there's no real choice in the elections. In the US, you got a choice between Sleepy Joe and Donald Trump, both old men. And yeah, have I ever thought of learning Korean? Well, I have tried in the past, but I just didn't have enough time. Know a few words in Korean, and I can say things like "Chonsong Mansei" and "Joseon Chonson Imgun Mansei," and a few other words, but I didn't really have time to sit down properly and learn the Korean language. And also, alas, like a lot of British people, I'm bad at languages. In Britain, languages is not our strength. The teaching of languages in British schools is very bad indeed. It's very poor quality. So I think a lot of British people can't speak other languages, which is a shortcoming in Britain. Ah, this is interesting. Ideology explained. Greetings, Dr. Dermot Hudson, member of KFA here in the Democratic Socialist Republic. No one other than the couple. care about the relationships with the DPRK. There's an interesting question. Dr. Hudson, what is your favourite city in Korea? I would probably have to answer Pyongyang, I think, though I quite enjoyed visiting Samijeon back in August 2017. But of course, that has been rebuilt completely. And when I've seen the pictures of the new Samijeon city, it is nothing like the place I went to. I mean, other places I like in the DPRK are Sarawon. I quite like that. There's a nice hotel in Sarawon where you can get a good lunch. Uh, and yeah, I would also say I liked Kaesong, but my favourite city is undoubtedly Pyongyang. Yes, that is very true. Pyongyang is a socialist paradise, indeed, and there's sort of no graffiti there, no vandalism, no riots, no drugs. Now, this is a useful question. Are you planning to travel back to the DPRK? If so, can you give me some tips on how to get a chance to travel, especially in a country with no embassy to the DPRK? Yeah, I'm not sure what the ins and outs were of the DPRK embassy being closed in Sri Lanka were. I believe there was some kind of trouble between Sri Lanka and the DPRK, and in fact, a long time ago, as Sri Lankan comrades know, the DPRK was blamed over the JVP uprising in 1971, and diplomatic relations were severed, but they were obviously restored. Yeah, I'm planning to travel back to the DPRK. I don't know when. Money can be a bit of an issue. I hope to go next year for either the 80th anniversary of liberation in August or the 80th anniversary of the foundation of the Workers' Party of Korea in October 2025. Yeah, and it is difficult when you don't have a DPRK embassy in your country. You would have to sort of contact the DPRK directly or the nearest DPRK diplomatic mission, which I believe for Sri Lanka would be in New Delhi. You'd have to contact them and arrange things, either get your visa there or possibly. I mean, years ago, there was no DPRK embassy in Britain, so we used to have to get the visas put in the passports at Beijing a couple of times, right up until 2008. So, so that's how you would do it. Right. Yeah, DPRK cities are very clean. Right, from Ben. Yeah, I think it could be possible to have a meeting with DPRK social scientists over something like Zoom, but it's a bit of a remote possibility. And there's also issue of time zones Pyongyang is 8 hours ahead, which tends to rule out DPRK participation in a lot of events because they would be uh, taking place in some cases at a time when people in the DPRK have gone to bed. Yeah, and yes, in the past, social scientists from the DPRK have visited Britain, but again, this is up to the British government whether they issue them with visas. And my sort of suspicion is that they probably now wouldn't issue visas to DPRK social scientists. I might be wrong, but back in 2008 or 2009, a DPRK social scientists delegation visited Britain, and I met them. And also, my guide in April 2012, Professor Ri Mu-il from Kim Il-sung University, assistant professor at the university, actually lived in Britain for a short period in Kent. He was on exchange at the University of Kent at Canterbury. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't get comment too much on DPRK Sri Lanka relations. I find the story about the LTTE a bit implausible because the DPRK had always had relations with the JVP, which was very much opposed to the LTT. Yeah, sorry, Captain DPRK, that is the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Elan, otherwise known as the Tamil Tigers. JVP, I can't pronounce it in Shinlaese, but that roughly translated is the People's Liberation Front, who staged an armed uprising in April 1971, but have since, I believe, actually at times been part of the government in Sri Lanka, but our Sri Lankan friend can explain that far better than I can. Yeah, overall, I think the meeting between President Putin and Supreme Leader Marshal Kim Jong-un was a great victory for the DPRK's independent Juche-based diplomacy, and cemented relations of cooperation between the DPRK and the Russian Federation, two anti-imperialist countries. Yeah, I mean, just on the discussion on Zoom, yes, I wonder whether uh, whether they would allow the DPRK to connect to Zoom. That's another fact. It might even break US sanctions for DPRK to be connect between you know with Skype or Zoom. Next KFA Europe meeting somewhere less antagonistic DPRK Serbia so scientists can attend. Well, the next KFA international meeting is going to be in Madrid, I think in November. But I don't know whether we could host a meeting in Serbia or Russia even. I will take questions for another 5, possibly 10 minutes if you got them. It seems to have livened up here. Getting a few more questions. It was a bit dead earlier, but we start. We're getting questions coming in. Yeah, well, with regards to numbers, usually a lot of people watch it when it is sort of saved and uploaded to the channel. Well, and overall, just to comment bit about the channel, we're doing well. The number of subscribers has gone up. We're getting plenty of views, so it's doing well. We could do it with a lot more subscribers and viewers, but I think we can be satisfied with what we've got. A good question here from our comrade Felix, who calls he's a famous artist in Germany. And I don't know of any artist exchange program at the moment. However, I visited the Pyongyang University of Fine Arts back in February 2019. They were very interested to promote exchange with European countries and I think mentioned the Netherlands. So there is possibilities, but uh, uh, you would have to. We would have to ask the Cultural Relations Committee if there's a possibility to exchange artists. Good question. When was your first ever visit to People's Korea? My first ever visit was in May 1992, and I've never looked back since then. And in fact, I must put my free downloadable book, Travels in the Land of Juche, Korea, which you can download free of charge, and that is all about my visits to the DPRK. Glad your channel is not getting pulled like Fyong and Echo did. Well, uh, that's something that worries me about the channel getting uh getting deleted. It's a big worry because there's a lot of censorship by Google and YouTube. It's quite fascistic. I mean, I think what was done to Echo was terrible, and to other DPRK channels, most of which weren't even ideological, political. It was simply people talking about their lives in the DPRK. But this upset the bosses of Google so much. I mean, we have got KFA UK on Rumble TV as a backup, and of course we have the two Telegram channels as well. So we're prepared. But yes, I hope they leave the channel alone. Possibly we haven't got targeted yet because we don't have a massive number of subscribers like some of the other channels. I think once you get up to 10,000, might have to start looking over my shoulder. My favourite monument in the DPRK is the Juche Tower, but I also like the Chalima statue. It's very good. Yeah, I also hope my channel doesn't get pulled. Yeah, I mean, it was really bad what was done to Echo of Truth. It was sickening that they do not like hearing the truth about the DPRK. That's a fact. Okay, well, I'm going to run for another 5 minutes if people have got questions. And so it's a very, well, perhaps not hot to some people, but I mean, it's fairly hot in London. So I'm getting very thirsty while doing this. So if you've got other questions, please ask. Yeah, yeah, I mean, they say really horrible things about, the different pro DPRK channels, that they're influencers, that they're members of quote unquote the elite, and this is just rubbish. Well, I thank our comrades in Sri Lanka for their support. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with boycotting Google, but as you say, they control virtually all of the internet. Yeah, I mean, think Google are an awful company, and it's a rumor that they were really set up by the CIA or National Security Agency of the US. There's that rumor. Well, I don't really know about the dark net. Is something I would really really avoid if possible. The dark net. Certified Idiots Association. No, well, I have lots of favourite DPRK songs. It's very hard to say which one is my favourite. I like We Follow Only You. I like Revolutionary Armed Forces Support the Marshal. Let Us Uphold the Red Flag. I like My Country is the Best. It's really hard to choose between them. Yeah, I mean, also Friendly Father is also a great song, and it's also one of my favourites, and I think the music video of it is absolutely great. What do you think of the traitor Yonmi Park and other traitors? Well, she's been exposed repeatedly about lying with the DPRK. I hate her. She's had so much plastic surgery that if she stood next to an electric fire, she would probably melt. Absolutely horrible woman. Looks like a prostitute as well, uh, and is really an insult. She's really insulting Korean people, and she is trash and scum. But basically, and she's lied so many times. I mean, she claimed that she saw dead bodies floating down the river in the DPRK during the 1990s. Well, I was in the DPRK in the 1990s, and I never saw that. And anyway, there it is actually a scientific impossibility that dead bodies would float down rivers. Apparently, I looked this up, and also her story about the people had to get out and push trains up because of no electricity in the DPRK. That was debunked as well. A lot of nonsense. Well, we need to forget about such people. They are not relevant. They are puppets of the media, like a circus that is brought out to attack the DPRK. In fact, all the sort of human rights gang, the defectors, the horrible Judge Kirby, haven't heard much of him lately, and all these NGOs and so-called experts, they're just like a big clown circus attacking the DPRK. Okay, well, I think we've had a good live stream tonight. I shall say end the stream. Thank you very much for being with me. I'm sure that more people will watch this once it's recorded and once it's uploaded to YouTube. So see you all again in oh, about another month, or maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Anyway, wish everybody a good evening, and see you all again soon. Goodbye. Bye.